Well, hello, and welcome to Stop It, Let's Team Up. I'm here today with Kirby, and we're going to talk about a super team that needs some talking about done. That is Shadowpact. Say hi, Kirby.
Hi, Russ. Thanks for bringing me on for this occult series.
Yeah. I was reading the JSA compendium, and I got that they put what is it? Day of what? I get them
I think
all.
it's Day of Judgment is in the JSA.
Day of Judgment, and that's basically when this team forms ish. Um, and there I like a team full of B team members.
Yep.
And I remember this came out. I didn't know I had read a Nightmaster comic. Um, and I knew, and I'd read a Ragman. I think it was drawn probably by Herb Novak in Detective Comics or something in the 70s. And I knew who all the characters were. So I was like, well, sometimes these weird teams work. And I read the first couple of issues when it first came out and read it. I didn't read that event. I don't think I read that event, but I did see these characters and I read it and I liked them. And I've always enjoyed it. It's kind of like the reason I like Secret Six, those weird grouping of people. Well, how did you get into this team?
Okay, so I didn't actually read this series until probably 2 years after it was canceled because by that point I was slash am a big fan of Bill Willingham's Fables, so I wanted to read as much of his stuff and Lila Sturgis's stuff as I could. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is a magic team in the DC universe with a bunch of characters I really don't know. I'll give it a shot because I bought all as one big bundle for like 25 bucks.
That's what I paid for to get this. Because folks, to get the app sucks. It's got the first three, it's got the first 16, and then you have to hunt down the rest. So I bought a whole run for about $20.
Yeah. So really for me, this was my first, like, sure, Blue Devil might have had like a line in JLU, but this was my first real exposure to like most of these characters. So,
Really?
um,
So this is your intro to Blue Devil.
yeah,
Well,
which
that's
okay, so just to kind of get that is when I read this, I think now Kirby at 34 with a lot more knowledge under his belt, I understand why people like Blue Devil, but in this series, it's like I liked him, but he felt like discount Hellboy to me. So I never really understood like the big
yeah.
appeal of
That's what
him.
I
And I
get
like
that.
Hellboy, but it's like, and I think they do fine, but it's like we have Hellboy at home is kind of how he comes across in this series, even with the stuff I
Yeah,
do like.
yeah. See, I don't see that. I see this as a guy that's gone through all the thing. He's lost his power. He's been killed. All this. I knew him as the. And have you read any early Blue Devil?
Oh yeah, no, I have his complete original run. I have his appearances in
See, but yeah,
Showcase.
you see the happy-go-lucky guy
Yeah,
turned into the demon fighter. Yeah,
yeah.
that's got to be strange.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So it's like, okay,
so
after reading the original series, it's like, oh, now I understand why he's a fan favorite.
I think he's more like the Beast from Marvel.
Okay,
Where
okay.
he had he had the powers, but then it became like a curse. I'm furry, and he accepts it, and he's still a nice guy because he's basically got Ben Grimm's personality.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
which is like the saving grace, absolutely.
yeah. So, but did you know any of the other characters?
I'm trying to remember because if I had read any early Suicide Squad like in a trade, she did not stick with me. Same with Nightshade. Now that I think about it, Ragman, no idea. Nightmaster, no idea. Detective Chimp, no idea.
Yeah, I like this.
So,
This series is where we get this version of Detective Chimp, and I like that
oh
they put him in a superhero costume for a little while, which is silly.
yeah,
Just he dresses in people clothes. It's fine. Yeah, it's weird, Ragman, but it's this is an eclectic group, and they weren't. That I in the last 4 months that I've gotten, or whatever, I've gotten a Nightmaster and a Ragman McFarlane figure.
I gotta get both of those.
Yeah, it's weird. I just got four this week and I've been posting them on the show. So um but they're addictive, so I'm gonna not look at them for a while until I can't. Um, but yeah, it was an eclectic group. I like teams like this.
Yes.
Um, the champions, I liked it as a kid when I reread and I got the complete champions and I covered it in a very early episode. It's a rough series because they don't have any or freedom fighters. I tried every team book. I like this one and I like this series. Um I do not think there is a bad story in it,
Nope.
in any of it. Are there any that are amazing? There's some that get close, I think. I don't think anything blows my mind.
Right.
but it's got the soap opera, the little
Mm-hmm.
bit, it's got the stuff can happen. The bar, it's Cheers too, because a lot of a lot of their team building, their intersocial things are all take place in the bar.
The Oblivion Bar, which I think is probably this series' biggest contribution to the DCU as a whole, because I swear I've seen the Oblivion Bar in other series that have nothing to do with Shadowpact, but hey, that's where all the
Oh
magic
yeah,
characters
but they
hang
all
out.
pay a nod to it. They always
Yeah,
make sure one member of Shadowpact is in it. I'm pretty sure.
I'm
And
sure
who
that
and doesn't Blue Devil run the bar now?
he's the bouncer. Let's see. As I'm trying to remember, it's I think later on in the series, after spoiler alerts, Nightmaster leaves. He doesn't die. Detective Chimp becomes the owner and allows what's the character Flippy, who was like an old Detective Comics one-shot character, to keep tending bar.
Yeah, it's a Neil Adams cover. It's kind of fucked up. It's I forget. Is it a Batman? Maybe a
Uh,
Brave and the Bold.
I think it's just. I'll look this up, but
All right,
while we're talking here, real quick.
because I have that. I remember that cover. I remember that cover. If you find it, let me know and I'll post it.
Yeah,
Uh,
well,
but but yeah, I like it because the bar is part of the charm. The monkey and everybody is so rude to Flippy, and they call him Flippy, which is really inappropriate for somebody who's born with flippers instead of arms and legs. I
which
mean,
they
it's
acknowledge
fucking
in the series.
terrible.
Yeah,
But you're listening to it, and it's like, yeah, this monkey would say that.
yeah,
This monkey is rude. Because I remember when somebody gets in a fight with him, and the other one said, "Hey, don't you know chimpanzees have twice the human strength and will tear your face off?" And the guy's getting tackled by Detective Chimp, and they drove the guy with this Russian. I was read it and went, is he warning him or is he laughing at him? Um, but the bar is so important. I mean, because what I like about this series is that everybody goes on a journey. I think some characters aren't as well served as others.
yep.
And I think some of their treks are too long, but I think, but it all worked moving in and out of the arcs, and the overall arc with the sun was the Sun King.
Yeah, with with Doctor Gotham and all of
I
that.
love
Yeah,
that fucking name, Dr.
it
Gotham.
yes.
But and they did things in this that are ticks in books that I like.
Hmm.
Like one that the Phantom Stranger introduces everything.
Yeah, I'm like perfect. But
He's every issue too. There's not one where he does not introduce it, right?
yeah, I think that's right. Or if there is, it's a one shot. It's a like one off. But yeah, he's because that's what you need. Because it was in Day of Vengeance, which was an Infinite Crisis lead, and where they started, it was like he was transformed into a mouse, so that's how they kind of initially wrote him off. And
That's right. Okay.
yeah, uh, and that's one thing I like about this is, and it's a plot point is what is it? I think it's Nightshade is talking to Detective Chimp, and she's like, "Hey, look, all the other big guns are gone. I'm still here. That's got to count for something." And I really like that as a kind of a character beat.
Yeah, I do. Um, I think they wrote Enchantress really well.
I really like this Enchantress to where I forget she was a villain.
Well, but this is after Suicide Squad, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, way
So is
after,
well,
yeah.
okay. And that June and her were different. I don't
Hmm.
remember where June became because she answers to June.
Right, I don't, yeah, this that if that's
So, but I
continuity, I don't
like
know
that
it.
she becomes the leader
Oh yeah,
at the end when Nightmaster leaves, and you see that being
built up.
foreshadowing of it
Yeah.
that he see this is the thing I'm gonna go on my little what I want in a good superhero team book is a good leader.
Hmm.
Cap, Cyclops, Monica Rambeau, you can write Tony good at it, you can some people make Reed good at it, some people give it to Sue, but you know what I mean. Storm,
Yeah.
and there are ones where you make them a leader and like why are they a leader, that there's something written in the way they behave. And that in this book, that the leader goes, when someone goes, why do I have to do what you say? Because you chose to be on this team and you chose me to be leader. So I'm leading it. So go do what I say. And I went, I got that, and it's the growing up military brat kind of
Yeah.
shit. I see that, and the romanticization of a strong leader, but he's a good guy. You know what I mean? He's a leader, and there's even a point where he's checking in on people. He checks on Warlock's daughter,
Yep.
like a good leader would do. And you see Enchantress grow into that role. Willingham takes time for a good third of this run to build her up.
Yep. Because like she's kind of off the table as she's trying to keep Nightmaster alive, and it's like, okay, it's at that point where it's like she has to step. She's gonna step up at some point because she kind of has to.
Yeah, because you see how because she doesn't even want to be on the team at the beginning, and she doesn't know why she's fighting for other and why but she is willing to die
Hmm.
to prolong his life, and then don't they kind of infer that she'll do a merciful death for him?
That's how I remember taking it. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it's time for me to give up, I'll be there for you.
Mm.
And you get this thing that he's letting her know. It was very they become very interconnected after that. And it's not sexual at all. It's
Nope.
not romantic. Um, and just the hierarchy of the team shifts. That I'm always thinking Detective Chimp is going to be number two, but Detective Chimp is just he's logistics.
Yeah.
He's planning.
Yeah, or he's the face whenever they have to make like a public announcement, and
Yeah,
it's because he's
the
the
rest,
only.
none of us want to do it. So you can want the talking monkey to explain the situation.
Yes.
But
Uh,
I love Detective Chimp. I thought about buying that hardcover that came out or all the early, and then I found some of it's on the app, and I read it. Went, no, I don't need
that was something I'm like, I love this version of Detective Chimp. There's no way those like Silver Age. I'm sure like they're fun, goofy, but it's like okay, I can read one of these a night. That
I think it's got to be
tops.
nostalgia. It's too old for it to be nostalgia to me because I think if my brother gave me that in '72, I'd have gone, "This is boring." But I love this one because it's basically okay. He could play. You could catch him playing cards with Ben Grimm
Yep, that's a
and
good way
getting
to
in an
put it.
argument over cheating. It probably grew up. It probably grew up in the same neighborhood, because I definitely Detective Chimp is not. He's a gumshoe. He's more gumshoe than he is Sherlock Holmes, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing throughout this series that kind of, and it's true of every time he appears, is you can tell which artist can and cannot draw the monkey.
Yeah.
Like Willingham does it pretty well. Well, but there were some other artists I can't remember who off the top of my head where it's like, it's not that hard to draw a chimp. You're making it
Yeah. There are
harder
a
than it
couple.
needs.
There are a couple people, and I know what you mean. Um, but I did like the beginning. I mean, the early stuff was good, and I liked the artists in it. Um, and the first story arc I thought was pretty good because you gave him a bad guy team right up,
Yep. Yeah.
and I didn't
God.
know any of those people.
Well, I think Kid Carnival is original to this series,
And
and he would
didn't he end
actually.
up in JSA?
Yeah, he ends up in JSA when Willingham and Sturgis take over.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
hey,
That's
hey,
why.
you're gonna bring a little pet character you created over. Fine.
Yeah, that was like, hey, is this going to be good? It may be. No.
I'll I'll defend a lot of that of their
I
run.
mean, it's not as bad. I mean, I think I'm talking probably all the bad stuff is the Guggenheim stuff at the end.
That's where I dropped off
I was like,
because like
who are these people? I have to put when I look at lineups at JSA, it's like, yeah, but they didn't say anything, and we don't have an origin. The Red Beetle, what the fuck is that?
I don't care. I don't
Yeah,
care.
it's so dumb. It was so dumb. All right, let's
Um,
not.
yeah.
But what other characters? What did you think about? Since you didn't know any of them,
mhm,
see, so I knew. I mean, I knew Enchantress, and I'm really taking it on me reading the whole series now.
right.
I knew. I don't know when she became this Enchantress, but I like her. I don't
Hmm.
know if they wrote her this way or that someone thought that was the end of her. They were writing the character out, and that was her goodbye. And this is how she ended up. I don't know, but I like that. I didn't know Ragman enough. I didn't know if he was. I knew it was angsty when I
Yeah,
was a kid.
he has I really like his like kind of power set where his ancient literal the rags that he wears as his suit, it's like are empowered by like criminal soul, evil dead
Yeah, who
souls, and
wanted
it's
redemption,
yeah, and it's
which I
like
get is weird because it's a Jewish
yeah.
tradition, and they don't have a heaven or hell.
I thought they had a heaven.
Maybe, I guess maybe that's it. Maybe I don't know it well enough. I'll have to ask my buddy Ken because he's got
Yeah,
a degree in religious studies.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a nice power set, and I like it that he's just a guy from the neighborhood.
Yeah. One of my favorite bits early on is he thinks he's having a moment with Enchantress. So he tries to kiss her and she just laughs in his face and tells everybody immediately. And it's like, oh God, is he the Nighthawk of this team?
Yeah, well, he's a doofy guy. I always got it like he worked in like he worked on a laundry or a haberdasher or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's how I got it, and it's Blatt, and I don't know his origin. It's probably really weird. He's wearing the rags empowered by the souls of sinners.
Yeah,
Um,
apparently it was a family tradition, if I remember in this book, where they touch on it, but I have no idea what the original origin was.
okay. But he's just like he works in he's just an irregular guy. And
Yeah,
he's not he was a guy who looked in the mirror and goes, one day I want to be a hero. He's like,
yep,
I gotta make enough money to pay my bills.
yeah,
And maybe go out with a friend, maybe meet a nice lady, just an average guy. And I
yep.
like that because they keep that. And that Nightshade is like, I'm not as when she starts to figure out that they're flirting.
Right. That's where, and I remembered her, that was the thing is when I was reading, I'm like, I remember her being way more fun and flirty throughout this whole series, and she's kind of not until the end. But
Yeah,
it's like,
I was thinking about that when I was reading the last batch of those issues. It's like, why are you underwriting her? Everybody else is up here, and she's all of a sudden she's way down here.
Warlock's daughter gets more to do in this series, I think, as a whole than she does. And it's a shame because, again, once they kind of figure out her personality, it really works. It's a good contrast to the rest of the team where it's like, okay, it's like, what, I created these two shadow homunculuses.
I didn't
Name
even
him.
catch it until later, and that best made me, oh my God, that's her boyfriend's.
Yep.
And who drew that section? Was that Winslade? That was Winslade. Some of that was
Yeah.
Winslade. It's just
Yep.
fucking gorgeous.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but also they stayed very close to her Suicide Squad
Yep. But
characters.
they
But I
gave
think that
her
makes her different that she's the only one that's been her and
on a
Blue.
team.
Yeah, wanted to be. We're on a team and we're positive members of a team. And
Mhm.
Enchantress was just remember she was
She was
remember
basically a dog on a leash.
yeah, and when she gets loose a couple times, it ain't
Yeah.
good. She's a
Oh,
great character. Ostrander really understood her and the dynamic of June and Enchantress.
yep. Before we go off night, I gotta say I really like the redesign they gave her in the ongoing, where it's like this bluish, blue-gray dress thing. I just think it's so kind of unique that I just straight love it.
Yeah, I like. I want to. Yeah, I like the subtle changes too, and they adapt as they're going. I like in their first story, they get trapped in this town where time is moving slower or faster,
Hmm.
and they come out after their first mission, and there's a statue to them because they died saving the world, and they're like, "What the? We've only been gone for
2 days.
my God!" And it's
Yeah,
like 5 years. I like the little time jump, and that it takes them a while. We're dead. It's like all their shit's gone. And you see that like, well, of course it's gone.
you've been, yeah.
You didn't pay your rent. I evicted you. I sold your stuff.
Sorry, I had to do it. I didn't know if you were coming back.
Oh my
Which is something
God.
I feel like is in comics they don't touch enough of on, especially
Yeah.
nowadays. It's
Which
like,
forces them to go to the Oblivion Bar, which
yeah,
is the device that gets them all into the bar.
yeah,
Why?
because
And then especially Nightmaster, because he's like, wait, but this is my bar.
you were gone for a year. I'm sorry. I'm Edward Deacon. I took it over because I had nowhere else to go.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I really didn't know when I went back into rereading this Nightmaster. I couldn't remember what his characterization was.
Yeah, neither could I. And
and
they,
and and going into things the mini that's in the JSA compendium.
actually, JSA was Day of Judgment. They started in Day of Vengeance just to get
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
okay.
but
Um,
yes, you could go on. Sorry, didn't
but
mean to
but
interrupt.
I didn't get his kind of thing until they retold his origin.
Yep.
That he was in a rock and roll band. I went, oh my God, that's right. That's when this was done. This is under that era of where everybody wants to be like a Beatle and it's all go-go. It's just really cringy now to kind of look at it. And I didn't think of him as that because he's like
He's way
he
older.
yeah, he is older and he's one of those throwaway characters where DC was trying something.
Like he showed up in Primal Force. I know that because I had to buy an issue or two for my buddy JR yesterday, and it's like,
I have
why do you
never
want this?
read that. I've never read it. Is it terrible?
I can't even flip through it.
I because Red Tornado's in it, and I love Red Tornado, but I just it didn't. A lot of those zeros, most of them were zero. I didn't think I was like Star, and I didn't even buy Starman. I didn't, I had to buy that. Get into that later. I didn't. I think a lot of the new books they were doing were kind of like you're running out of ideas.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, who else haven't we touched? Well, we like Chimp. I mean, but not back to Nightmare. I just thought I like it that he'd been a hero. He's older too.
Yeah.
I was a rock star. Now I'm middle aged. I ran the bar for years, just being a bartender. I just gave up being the hero, but I like being a hero and blah blah. Yeah. And then him, but at the end where he goes back and he's back where he started and he's back to the way he was before, and he's learned how to use his sword better because he didn't get enough
He didn't,
training or whatever the excuse was. He's learning
right.
it later, and he goes back to being an adventurer. But he was a middle-aged guy because I like it when he took off his costume, he didn't look. He
He
was
wasn't.
older.
Yep.
He was. I mean, he wasn't grandpa like me. Dave Steele, when you listen to this, thank you for the well wishes with my broken foot and calling me Pop Pop. I appreciated it. It was funny. It made me laugh. I appreciate it. You can laugh, Kirby. Yes. Dave Steele called me Pop Pop because I had a fall.
There's some family stuff going on that I won't get into. That just makes it funnier to me.
Oh, okay.
One thing I like with Nightmare is like he doesn't know really how to like. Do we set up laws for how we operate as a team? How do we do this? Because it's like he has no idea how to be. Because he's appeared like
Well,
what
he know
three?
it, but I think I read that as him asking them the questions. Is like, if you're asking me to leave, I'm really going to lead. So we need to talk about this.
Yeah. Okay.
What are the do we kill?
Right.
Because I'm not doing that. It was really that's the kind of moral judgment leader, the leader. This thing, I talked to my wife because she is a terrible boss, just a fucking terrible boss, and I got an okay boss,
Hmm.
and we work in the same place. And how she goes because I manage people, management, leadership, and all this stuff, and I grew up around a Marine, so I understood the impression military people give you of,
Hmm.
and my dad was people did shit for him, even when I knew that it was a serious thing, and I mean they played him as a serious leader. I like it. That's not a cliche. It's not a misogynist thing because I think two of the best written, Roger Stern straight up wrote two of the best superhero team leaders in that faction where this is a leader. They do the warm fuzzy stuff, they do the yelling at stuff, they do the stuff, and that we will have a moral compass. And that's Janet Van Dyne and Monica Rambeau in his Avengers run.
Yep.
Okay. And that's what he has here. Cap, Cyclops, Storm, Hawkeye. Hawkeye in Thunderbolts is an incredibly good lead. And West Coast Avengers, unless he's dealing with his wife, he really understands it.
Yeah.
Unless he gets emotional into it. And that's what I liked when people write a lead, because oh my God, we're Legion fans. And there's a big Legion leader is important,
Yep.
especially in specific eras like Levitt,
Yes.
Skiffin era. Yeah. I think in Bates and Shooter a little bit.
Hmm.
Conway played with it while having one quit.
Yeah.
And I think if you go to Legion,
There's some bad leaders. Like
there's some ones that are fucking HR issues
Yeah.
all over the place. Saturn Girl. Saturn Girl.
It's like she should be the best leader, but there are times where the writers like, "What are you doing with her?"
Well, I think it is Sheena. I was listening to Long Live Legion, and
Okay, we're probably on the same page then.
well, I watched the second one, and they're right that she's a great leader, and Dream Girl, but I think it's because they know better. I think Dream Girls and Saturn Girl are way smarter than the rest of the team always know.
Yes.
And when they're written well, who knew that Dream Girl was that interesting a character until I mean,
Yeah.
but they knew how to write. If she's going to get elected because the fans elected her, do we make it a joke? and they're going, no, we're making Darkseid come. She's got to be the best leader. She needs to be the leader they need at this moment.
Right.
And you see that. You see her tear people down and pull people up. You see her do all those leader, good, good role model leader kind of things. It sounds hokey, but that's a part of being a fully developed character, and they are. And Legion's got a bunch. Everybody loves Drake Burroughs as leader. He's your Bill Shatner. He's Captain Kirk kind of leader.
Yeah.
He's not warm and fuzzy.
Nope.
Fuck all. But they go, is he the leader during the Earth War?
Yeah, he's leader. I think he's leader during Earth War. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's good at it. They're in a war.
He's getting in people's faces.
Yeah, and it's really well written, and that's really on a cusp where that era. That's Levitt's one.
Yep.
Where he's like, I'm not doing these one and dones, and doing it again. That he thought the leader should have qualities, and I like that Conway had one go, I failed you. I quit, and he didn't, and it wasn't his fault,
right?
And they all told him it's not your fault. He's like, it's my fault. I'm in charge. I was in charge, and I'm frustrated. I need to step away, and I like that in a book, and this book has it, and Willingham knows it. I mean, he knows it from the first page. It's just, I love it. It's something I want in a book, and it's the interaction is what I want in the book. It's everything I need in a team book.
Yep. Like one of my favorite bits is when they shake up the lineup a little bit, and like Blue Devil leaves because it's like. It's a mixture of like, with all the good he's done since he sold his soul, at the end of the day, it's like he still sold his soul, and that's causing other people to try and sell theirs. So it's like, this isn't good, and he's mad that it's like all this good that I've done is still helping hell. So he quits, sues, and does all these 12 tests, and they bring Zariel back from Morrison's JLA, and I'm like, hey, I'm all for that because it kind of makes sense. Like, all right, let's have an angel be on the team to try and show, like, oh, okay, we'll compare and contrast.
I will say this. I loved him in Morrison's. I don't feel that they don't give him any heavy lifting to do. I think he could have had some interplay with somebody. Maybe if the book had gone on longer, it would have. I do want to talk because I think he's a good. He's a great replacement. He's a great character. He looks good. It was that when they told, I think Morrison did the genius job creating this character when he couldn't use Hawkman, because he didn't make a cheap. He didn't make a new Hawkman.
Nope.
He's made a dude with wings, and that's what. Fuck it. But it's going to be so different that you can't accuse me of anything, and you can.
Nope.
And he's a good character. I think it probably would have seen more of him joining this because even some of their auxiliary members,
Midnight Rider and Archean,
Archaean,
thank you.
Archaean, something like that.
Something.
He was okay. I like Midnight Rider. They should have made him a member of the team. Because he's I'll do it. Have fun. What the hell?
Yeah.
And you think I thought he was going to turn on him.
Nope.
I thought it was going to be some terrible byplot. No, man. But what's his power set again?
It was like if he shoots you with a gun, you turn into stone until daylight or something like that.
Till daybreak, and his power doesn't work during the day.
Right. I'm just going to do a quick again. Just I gotta see if hopefully he has a entry on the DC fan wiki.
He does.
Okay.
All 4 appearances are in this series.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad they brought him back. I was getting mad. I was like, "You're not bringing him back." I was actually a little mad that him, Archeon, and Midnight Rider weren't in the battle in the final arc where they had the past Shadowpact with the cool looking members.
Yeah.
Future Shadowpact with the lame looking. I was not impressed with the future ones.
No, but I thought that was a really good finale. It's like if the series had to end early, I'm glad that they at least ended on a high note with that.
It was really a good finale, and that they knew it was the last issue, and they get tired of. And I love some throwaway stuff where the leader of the future Shadowpact says to Warlock's daughter, "Go see you in 25 years."
And it's like, oh, come on, bring them back.
Well, that's why I went and looked and see where they were in other things. So, but we'll talk about that because I'll have a little not tirade, but it's
sure.
But yeah, I like what they did, and I like the different arcs. And but this is my overall take. It's really good. It's very entertaining. I did not mind, folks. I've fallen and I couldn't get up, and I broke 3 toes and tore open my foot. So I've been stuck on the pull-out sofa with my legs uncomfortably propped up in the air for about 5 days. So I read the rest of Shadowpact. I watched some Doctor Who. My wife, I can move around on a rolly chair or crutches to help myself, but my poor wife and friends are having to help me. But I devoured the end, and I got to 25, and I went, I'll wait until tomorrow. I, I'm going to take a pain pill and muscle relax and try to get some sleep. Uh, but I wanted to kind of savor that last one. It was a really good thing,
Mm,
but I don't think they ever. I see. I mean, I understand why it probably didn't last more than 25 issues. I see it. Probably sales numbers weren't great, but they were giving it all. And the rotating. I liked rotating artists.
mm-hmm.
It seemed planned-ish, especially at the end. Like
Yes.
stories were 3 issues. They were parts 1, 2, and 3. But willing and basically understanding that this shit's going to get collected. 3 issues is better than 4. I think he's right. I really that's I think it worked. That worked for me, and I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. But I liked how they had different artists for different things, and we had good ones. We had Walker and Darajic, who's the guy that used to draw Buffy, and he does gently. I think Garrity. Jarity. There's an artist he did Buffy, and Derrick, I guess if that's how he pronounced his name. I feel like I'm butchering it. Uh,
Winsdale is
no, Winslow is I love that. He's poor man's Broderick. I mean Anderson. No, but I'm talking about who ended up doing the end part of the book. Derrick. Uh Darenick. Sorry, Jesus, there's an N in there, you idiot. He reminds me of somebody who used to draw Buffy a lot and did early Firefly comics. Um, and he's done some mainstream stuff. I like him. I mean, he's really good. And they're similar. I don't think Mr. Darenick gets past that. Um, but I like the mix. I like the mix. I would like to, some of the artists I wish they used like for one and dones where it was a little more avant-garde, not avant-garde, but just different, had done
yep.
bigger arcs. There were a couple of them in there. I think.
Again, Sean McManus. I kind of wish
Yeah. Oh, geez.
can we get like him as the regular artist on this, please? Like that
Oh,
would
at
be
least if you're gonna do let's do something in hell. He does that one. Okay, we're gonna do something more superhero. We'll get this person
right.
because I think that's a good way. I mean, and I've seen other books that do it that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That you have your art. Did you ever read Exiles, Marvel's Exiles?
No, you've kept telling me about
Yeah,
it,
but
and
there are artists like Dave Cavalieri does some, and they look this way, and you mix and match. It's like what if sometimes where you would have, I don't know, but I kind of like it. But I'm trying to let me pull this up in the app. But artistically, what was your take on some of this stuff?
I think I think honestly, because this was probably even at the time, it was probably a second or third tier book. They did not give them the artists that they probably really needed outside of like a little blips where if they had had maybe a regular artist and a really good one, it probably could have helped sales a little bit more to keep because I remember this series going on for like another year longer than it did, and I think like a stronger art team might have helped because as much as I love this team, I love the fact that this is a bunch of B, C, and D listers. But I kind of understand when they tried this again with Justice League Dark, where they threw in Zatanna, they threw in, uh, John Constantine, where it's like, okay, I understand why that probably does help sales, but this to me is by being more epileptic. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
Eclectic, whatever,
eclectic. Yes.
eclectic. Um, a team. It because even though I've said like I didn't know any of these characters, it made me want to go out and check them out from prior stories. So
Yeah, I
that to
was.
me is a good rendition of a team.
Yeah, it is. Like they had on their third issue. let me look at some. Let's see. I'm quickly looking at artists. Like they had Wayne Foucher, who I really liked. The first arc, the first three issues are three different artists. William, then it's Falker, and then it's Corey Walker. And Corey Walker, who did the third issue, he should. I wish he had done more. I mean,
Yeah.
I think his art really lends itself to this kind of storytelling.
Hmm. Was it
But
was he might have already been off of Invincible by this point, so I don't know what
yeah,
he was doing.
yeah. See, I mean, he'd have been Scott, Steve Scott, sorry, Steve Scott, who does some of the next stuff, is really good. He should be. I bet he could do a superhero book anytime. I think if you gave him the right script. So some of them were really good, but they did jump around so much. Corey Walker comes back, he does 6. So it's and then yeah, because they're jumping around between him and Scott are taking turns
Yeah.
2-1, and then it's Tom Derrick, then McManus Derrick. Who's the other ones? And then it's Scott Hampton did one as Azrael, the Zarel issue.
Oh, okay. Yep, yep, yep.
And then that's all I can look at in the pad. Well, oh, now I gotta go to the floppies. I bought floppies. I like a book enough to. They said, you know what? I was thinking I'll read them and then I'll sell them. It's like, eh. But I found someone that bound all these and had nice, and they were selling it cheap, and they sent me a load. Then they said, I looked at it, so I go make it. They sent, hey, we'll lower it. We'll set it for this. It goes, I'm going to turn my phone off right now before I say yes, because that would be fucking stupid. It was a reasonable price. I like Doug Braithwaite. I'm a big fan of Alex Ross's Marvel X. That whole,
Hmm.
especially the first 2 series, and he uses him. He's a little like he should be doing a horror book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Brent Anderson and Winslade. Little John Buscema-ish with some Rudy Nebres inks or something. I don't know. They're just good. It's what gets me with, and I keep probably coming back to Tom Derrick is I think Karen Dwyer one, the Blue Devil one, that was really good.
Yes.
Yeah. He probably did the most. Derrick probably did the most issues, and I think he is not. And none of them did a bad job.
Right.
There's no bad art in this. This is all good sometimes, but it's different. It's really eclectic. It's
Hmm.
all over the place. And I think sometimes it's on purpose, like the Zarel and
Hmm.
the Blue Devil, because those are one and dones. McManus is perfect for it. Corey Walker, man, he'd be perfect for it because he could do both.
Yeah.
You can take his art style and he just puts more shadow in it and it's creepy. And then he knows how to do 4-color adventure because
Yeah.
Invincible, one of the selling points on that book is that it understands what it is.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I like about this book, that it moves around through the horror genre a little bit. I wish they had done more deeper horror.
Yes.
Um, and I went on to the next book where they appeared, Rain in Hell, and it's written by Keith Giffen, who I think is a great writer, and it's drawn by Tom Derrick and inked by Bill Sienkiewicz. So it looks really nice. It does. It is drawn to look like a fantasy novel. It's very 70s, like during the Filipino explosion in DC. Their fantasy art took on a different look because it was coming from a different culture, and it's beautiful, like the inks of Rudy Nebres and Alfredo Alcala. Uh, That's what that stuff looks with. If Kirby hasn't read it, it's not. I did not like I read the first issue and a half, and I was like, God, this is a slog because I don't know these characters because I don't. It's Nayron and others that in an era that I don't know who they are, and I don't know what it's tying up or if it's creating it. I think it's Giffen doing what he does best is like I'm going to tell a horror story with all horror characters, or I'm going to do a space story with all the space characters. Him just trying it, and it looks epic and operatic and all that, but it's pretty and but it's I don't like the book's not. I did not. I will. I'm going to try. I'm going to try, but the book has not engaged me. but the art looks very nice, and that'd have been a good suit. That would be very suitable for this.
Mhm.
I mean, I would see that if you ever get a chance to look at some of the art, Kirby, I think you'll think the same thing. Oh yeah, with a good, with a good. I mean, this is horror fantasy with devils and monsters. Because I think I hate it when there's certain. I don't want to say that people are superhero artists, but you know what I mean. I don't want
Yeah,
someone
they're
drawing a superhero kind of art style where you're battling. The only one who could pull that off is what? Probably John Buscema.
probably, yeah. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Where there's you don't want Kurt Swan, love him, but you don't want him trying to do to freak you out. You want him doing big epic feats, superheroic feats.
Yes,
And
exactly.
yeah.
That yeah, it looks, and I think sometimes that may be why I wasn't selling it to people. I mean, none of these guys are big names, maybe
N-
except Hampton, Dwyer, and McManus at this point.
yep, and my guess is again they were trying to pull on the Fables because like this is pretty much at the height of Fables'
Yeah, I think
run.
they hired him and he was going to do something more fably. It could be
It
more fably. I
it
think
could
it could be. Could that would have
yeah.
been helpful.
And yeah,
Um,
it's like this just kind of isn't that. And it's
yeah.
again, William Sturge, they both do really good stuff, but it's like it's a lot more standard and it could have been a little weirder.
Yeah, and
And
I think it could have been editorial, make it fit
that
the
could,
box,
yep.
fit the box. You've got to be both. Huh? Why do I have to be both? And then maybe that was his spit pitch. Hey,
Yeah.
I understand mythical characters, I understand the magic genre. I
Hmm.
can do it, but I want to do a superhero team, and Phil will just be the ones from the DCs. And here's an eclectic group of people. And you're not using them, so I can't fuck anything up.
Yep.
And if not
And
anything, the book adds a Oblivion Bar. It adds this. Was this version of Detective Chimp? It was the miniseries preceding this and this, right?
uh like I think the only other time I've ever seen Detective Chimp between I guess his original appearances in this was like he showed up like for 2 issues in a really early Mark Waid Flash run, and that's it. And it's very different from this, where again, like we said before, this is a hard drinking, hard smoking Detective Chimp, and that
Yeah,
was that was not in this. It's like Blue Devil, like I say, his original series long since gone, and he's probably the highest profile out of all of them. Because
yeah. He's the only one that had a book that lasted. I
yeah,
mean, yeah. So I mean, overall though, I think it's a fun book. I think it's a
I
fun book.
yeah, and again, it's like you're gonna get a solid. If you go out, you read this, however you read it, uh, you're gonna have a good time. Like that. That's just the fact of the matter is, it's a fun series. Um, that kind of gives you again a weird cast of characters that gives them some time in the spotlight, which in an era where we're really just kind of getting just your big Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. That's it. You need series like this because the genre cannot rest just on the big tentpole characters. And like this is a non-team in a well of ways like the Defenders. And I am
Yeah,
just always a fan of that.
I do too. It's a team of second stringers and stuff like that. And I think, in a perfect world uh where people could get hands. See, this is it. I started reading comic books first 10 years. It's pulling them off of 7-Eleven stands, going to an early comic shop, getting them in drugstores, wherever they were, but they were everywhere. So a book like this could build up a following because as they got less returns, they print more because they realize, oh, that's how they would figure it is how many are coming back to be pulped or having their covers torn off. You know what I mean? That's how they
Hmm.
used to count it. So they could see it. This is doing well, and they could tell relatively quickly, 90 days. So if something was good within 3 months, 5 months, you may get a new character get it. And then if they saw that every time you put them, it's how they figured monkeys on the cover sells comics. And they
Uh,
used it in their damn math. They understood the business well. But with the direct market, these things don't really get a chance unless there's word of mouth. And
right.
this is early internet. I mean, where
This
are
is
we at?
'06 internet. So like we're not like in full social media yet, but we're we got message boards going, we got forums
Yeah,
going.
but I was that fan, the old "Yeah, get off my lawn" fan, that the message boards, because I really they would just trigger me and I would get shitty.
Hmm.
So it's why I don't people when I'm on Facebook, I don't interact except to say, "Hey, I like to do some." I can't. I'll get in private chats like Kirby and make friends with because it's real. There's no nuance in the typed word,
Right. No,
and
there's not.
people read what that people see what their brain tells them to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but I don't think this book, these type of books, got a chance because I think, and I think if they had different artists,
yes.
one or two different artists strategically placed. I think plot wise, I think Willingham, if you had found a collaborator for Willingham, I know he wanted to do this kind of on his own.
Right, and that's where Sturgis, where she took over like halfway through, and it's like, okay, like they worked on Jack of Fables together at this point, so that transition makes sense, and it's a pretty seamless one.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I, I don't know. Again, I don't think there's again, like you're saying, I don't know if there was enough faith. I don't know if there was enough word of mouth, whatever. I don't know if there was just like people were looking like I have no idea who any of these characters are. I'm not even gonna try. Which I'm like, oh come on, go weird, because.
Yeah, see, when I think of DC, because I've never been and will ever never be a DC or a Marvel guy. I don't, people say, you Marvel guy? I said, I like comic books and I walk away. Don't want to have that conversation. It's not one's better than the other. Oh, they're different. They're not that fucking different.
Mhm.
But there are things that are different. And one is these kind of eclectic teams at DC have been known to become popular.
Hmm.
You know, Marvel's teams, I don't know. I mean, that Marvel is kind of, they're taken from other people.
Hmm.
The Avengers is the Justice League.
Yep.
The Fantastic Four is challengers the unknown, and any of other Kirby's boy teams where it's about a family unit, a made family,
Yep.
and other things. But this is more DC kind of team, like Sentinels of Magic and all the other time, because they boot it until they get to Justice League Dark, which I'm reading the first Omni. I haven't read an arc in a bit. I'm going to jump back in at some point. It's okay, but this is funner, and I think this is funner. It is.
Yep.
I haven't read. Maybe I will. I'm enjoying JLD, but there's something fun about this because it's got the water cooler moments. It's got
Yep.
all the things I like in a super team, and it's eclectic. I think maybe Marvel could have sold this. This is a one, and everybody's trying to at this point repeat X-Men. Giant Size X-Men 1 and New Teen Titans.
Yep.
And at this point, Legion's done, right? Or
Yeah.
dying. Is
Yeah.
it is the,
Oh.
where is this? We're in Legion. Legion is past peak.
I think we're in three boot right now.
Yeah, way past. Okay, way
Yeah.
past peak. But
Yeah. Yeah.
when the direct market came around, where you know, one where the Bronze Age really kind of kicks into high gear. That's
Hmm.
not true. I mean, there's the early '70s Marvel, man. They just boom, 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 and DC's like catch up, catch up, catch up,
Yep.
catch up, catch up, catch up. Um, but they are different. I feel this is a very DC book. Am I wrong? Or
No. And before I forget, not the. It's probably not in the omnibus you're reading, but in the second Justice League Dark series, it just kind of reaffirms to me that the writer, I can't remember who it is, was a fan of Shadowpact because it essentially does become Shadowpact 2, where Blue Devil, Ragman, Detective Chimp are become members of Justice League Dark, and they
I
directly
kind
reference Shadowpact. It's like I think one of the arcs is like the revival of something like that. It's revival of Shadowpact where stuff happens and Detective Chimp gets Nightmaster's sword. So there is
okay.
still
I
an
need to
audience
catch
for
up
it.
because I
Yeah.
like all those characters. I mean, my problem with the beginning is never been a big Peter Milligan fan.
Milligan is very man. Yeah.
I've read
Yeah.
books of his where I was like going, I'm not offended, but I'm a little put off. Like I don't want to. You're. I don't know what you're trying to say here. I don't know what it is. It just he drives me a little crazy. He's one of
Sure.
those writers. I don't know why I don't like it, but I don't. Um, so overall, I mean, you'd recommend this to somebody to read? I mean,
Yeah.
you
No.
get it cheap, folks, $20.
Yeah.
But will it ever be collected? Probably
Probably
not.
not.
Probably not.
Yeah, again, it's a fun. It's not going to take you long to read. It's not heavily wordy, but you're going to have a good time with it. And again, it'll like you can go like, okay, if I were to name my top 10 favorite DC teams, Shadowpack's going to be on that list.
Yeah, I could see that because some of there are a lot I don't like. I mean, I don't dislike them, but I just don't like them. I've never, a lot of the '60s ones where they only appeared like 6 times, like,
Yeah, that
but that everybody brings back in these little things like Cave Carson and the Sea Devils and stuff like that. It's like, really?
that them.
Yeah. I just want to talk something about. I realized that I really like the tail end of this, and I meant the last three arcs. I really, really like the ones that were, I guess, were still all Sturgis.
Hmm.
I mean, I like Williams, but the final arc was great. The final battle in hell. The story where they go back to Nightmaster, where they're all divided up.
That was probably my favorite story, especially at the end where they're in like Nightshade's dimension or
Mira,
whatever, or
Mira,
Nightmasters.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Mira. I also think it's the same name of the princess in Starman's sister in the Bronze Age Starman.
Oh.
I don't
Well,
know. I thought the spelling looked very familiar. But yeah, they were really good, and they had Nightshade. They were all on a journey, man. They were all, and you could
hmm
the Blue Devil. You're seeing he had to do the 6 tasks of so and so,
hmm
and and you showed what the task gave him in not in sequential order.
Right.
Because
Like
one, he's finished it, and you see number two to go. Yeah, I did that. That means I can do this now. So he knows what's going on, but the audience isn't given the last little bit of information before he turns it and goes, kills Red. What is it, Red Devil?
Jack Flame or something. It's revealed to be his brother, and it's like his brother sold his soul before Danny sold his
There was a
soul.
lot of continuity I didn't know. It was like, ooh, when did that happen?
Probably in these pages.
Yeah, I got you.
There's probably
All
some
right,
retconning hit
all
there,
right,
I'm sure.
all right. All right. Well, I like this was a I haven't done we haven't done a whole team. I've never done a whole team one in a while because the last one I did was Champions. That was very early on. This was a good one to do, and I'm glad Kirby has the same fondness for it. And I'm glad I reread it, you know, because I'd not finished it. I did not read I don't think I even got to the end of what's on the app.
Yeah.
I just think I thought I had, but I've sold so many comics. I mean, I've sold my last four long floppies that I don't of comics I don't need. And so I was like, I had to buy some to finish reading it because it's like, again, it goes to the app. If it's not been reprinted ever, it's not going to be in there for some reason. It's just weird. So Kirby, let's do recommendation. You got any recommendations this week?
Yeah, Predator Killer of Killers. It's a new movie on
Oh yeah,
Hulu.
dude. Good
Yeah,
choice.
so basically, if you remember how after Prey came out, everyone was like, "Ooh, Predator in X, Predator in this." So it's like it's an anthology film of various predators fighting in, let's see, a Viking queen,
Mhm.
a samurai slash ninja, and and then they do a World War II fighter plane story, which I'm like, okay, they're playing, so it's not just the exact same, tropes that we've seen all before. And then they take all three of those, wrap them up into essentially the fourth arc, where those three survivors are on the Predator homeworld and fighting for their lives and trying to escape. It's
Wow, I've
re
only watched the first two. Good damn, man. I'll finish that up today. Damn.
Yeah,
It is good, folks. It really, really, I liked it a lot. I
and
like that kind of format.
it's animated, but it is a hard R. You see beheadings, you see
The Viking stuff, man.
bisections.
When he cuts the dude, she wants the son to cut him in half, and he's like freaks
Yes.
out. She does it,
Yep. I'm
and
like, okay.
then you see how her dad died. It was like, well, Jesus. It was
Yep.
great. It's beautifully made. Beautifully made.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I recommend that. And it's only like an hour and a half, so
mm,
too, which I'm glad we get hour and a half
yeah.
movies.
Well, I've got an odd recommendation. And me and Kirby talked about this before. I saw two omnibuses, one and two, really lowly priced for the first bid. So I'm gonna make the highest bid I'll make on it, which is just not much above $100 for two large omnibuses, and I won it. Oops, fuck, I won it. it didn't hit my max. I didn't go past my max. So I won it, and they've come, and it's the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman, which I've had a lot of people. I didn't read it. First stuff I read of his was his Justice League, which is probably not where to jump in on him. It's not a terrible Justice League, but I expect Justice League to be better than what I felt I was reading. So I was but then I started reading his Absolute stuff, and I'm like, damn, this stuff is real good. So I thought I'd check it. If I didn't, don't like it, I can resell them. I sat down yesterday, stuck in bed, and I read basically the first 300 pages. It may not be everybody's cup of tea. I can see where it may not. It's very dark. He's a very driven Batman. He's given a mystery that is changing his worldview, and it is upsetting him because it is affecting him and the whole family. And they have a neat little thing about he tells Alfred where things are going south and he's about to die, to press a certain alarm to call all the family. And that was kind of cool. And his relationship with his mentees is not, it's one of those times where, Bruce, you're acting a prick. Why aren't you listening to the three of us? Shut up and do what you're told. Even, and this is when Nightwing's in the red, it's early New 52. So something's I've not read it. He's a little damaged. Something's wrong. He's angry. Dick's angry about something. So they have a conversation, and there's something about the history. It's very complicated. I can see that now, but it's beautiful, and I think he writes it well. It's a lot of it is narrated by Bruce in his head. I love a thought balloon, but I don't mind. Batman can have some noir narration from time to time. I'd rather my info dump come from the guy figuring out the mystery. I liked it. I just really, I sat down and read it for hours yesterday. And it's dense. It's dense. I can see why some people are show don't tell don't, or all show don't, would be frustrated, but it's his dialogue and his narration is well crafted, and I'm digging it. And the arts, I mean, even the sub arts are good so far. I haven't had one go wrong. It's a lot. They're two huge ones. So I'm going to take a break today and read more Silver Surfer because I paused to I just finished midway through the Mr. Fantastic. Sue is Malice again.
Oh yeah.
And I would like to do a podcast where we talk about this run of Silver Surfer with you because I'm enjoying it. But there are a couple things, and once we say goodbye, there's something I want to discuss, but I want to do it on a podcast because it's getting on my nerves.
Okay.
But it's great. It's worth reading. And it's worth it. I'm glad I'm putting it in my library because I will read it again. And because I've read some of it, and I'm going to see if it gets old because sometimes it gets old.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, that's this for this week. I am laid up. I start work again tomorrow, work from home. I do not know if I'll work a full 8-hour day because sitting with your leg above your heart for 20 hours a day gets old. And then I'm doing a list of my 10 most favorite films on Blue Sky to keep myself occupied. And I was going to watch some, and none of them are available. Well, I'm getting to when they're available, or I own them. So, but I'm laid up. So hopefully, I will get some stuff out. I am going to record tomorrow, probably a Will Payton episode. There will be a Will Payton episode up by Wednesday. Maybe Thursday, because once I go to the orthopedist, because I've messed up my toots. I would like to be able to walk again someday. But some Starman coming out, and I have one with Dave where we talk about 4 issues of the Starman Shazam crossover. Oh, folks, the secondary recommendation this week's Earth 2 podcast they did, All-Star Comics 58.
Yes.
I was sad that they didn't ask for voice people. I was sad when I listened to it, but it was fun. I read it right before I paused. Dave, if you're listening to this, I did not beat you to listening to your own podcast this time because I had to make sure I read the comic right away. And I don't read the comics all the time for them. And there's sometimes I don't even know what the comic. I've never read the comic, but I enjoy them telling it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
All right.
We're in a sweet spot of Earth 2 content.
Oh yeah. Well, I was very glad that the episode where I did my guest voice, folks. Yes, it's finally dropped. The episode before that one is me doing the voice of Bob Haney. I think it is my proudest moment in acting form at any type is I got to play Zany Haney. I really appreciated that opportunity. You know that if I ever go back to being an actor, I'm gonna put that on my CV. All right, folks. As always, thanks for listening. Please be please be smart, be safe. Please be kind to one another. Please look after your neighbors because there's some horrible shit going on. And read some comics. If you haven't read it, Shadowpact 1 through 16 is on the app. It's worth checking out. And you can get a whole run for like $20.
Yep.
So enjoy. All right, folks.
Bye, everybody.